Alrighty, so squeaky loud ass chair. Thinking of taking a wee bit of a break from screaming at movies and shit to talk about my art supplies that I use. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about my oil paints since I am an oil painter and illustrator. And to be cocky, if you didn't know who I am, just kidding. So like I said, I'm an illustrator, I went to school for illustration. Obviously, as you see in the videos, I complain about movies. I also make costumes and props and do special effects makeup, which I learned the special effects makeup while I was in art school. So, moving on, let's talk about these oil paints. So I have this big old drawer of shit that is part of one of those like plastic 3-drawer loud squeaky chair, 3-drawer dealies. I have it in my room. This is my studio space, i.e. my sister's old room, which like my room is like there. As an illustrator, I paint in oils, which a lot of people think it's a little bit crazy because oils take forever to dry. I'm gonna mention the things that I use to make my oil paints, my shit dry in about like 15 to 20 minutes. But anyway, just I'm gonna talk about it with the squeaky ass chair. So I got these super expensive brushes that I don't use anymore, but I keep them because I spent like 20 bucks on them. I don't even think that Windsor puts these out anymore. But anyway, these are like real animal hair, all that shit, you know, super expensive. They're a little bit fucked up now, being that I used them, I think, during my junior thesis. So I cleaned them. They're still pretty soft, all that shit, but I just have them again because I spent money on them. My brushes actually keep in here. Most of my brushes aren't the long handle ones, even though I'm an oil painter. I tend to use the shorter handle, you know. Technically, these are in like the brush section of an art store. These would be categorized in the watercolor section. Mainly, I like using these mainly because they're super soft. And the way how I paint, I paint in like kind of thin layers and glazes and stuff. So, or washes if you're doing obviously water soluble paint. So yeah, using like the more bristle, I don't even have one, but like the more bristle brushes where you can see like the paint strokes don't really work for what I'm doing. Yeah, most of them are Princeton. I do like Princeton brushes a lot because they're super duper soft and they come in like various sizes that I need. And I stepped on something. I do have like different types of gesso. The main one I use is black, the Liquitex one, because now this is one of my painting surfaces. Like, woo, I paint it, like I go over with black, even though this is Arch's oil paper and you don't need to prime it, but I like to put a nice layer of black because I tend to start on black. And I have something here, quick, you know, that I've already used my lovely transfer paper and put my design, you know, my illustration on there, and all I need to do right now is just render it. So that's there for, you know, ASAP. I did paint on canvas when I was in school, obviously, because that was something you're required to do. Then I think I painted like whatever acrylics I needed to paint on like a watercolor block. Then I moved on to like painting on illustration board, masonite boards, the gesso boards that you get in the art store. Sometimes it would be like the wood blocks, that kind of stuff, the wood panels. And then I stuck with the masonite gesso boards more because they were like much thinner, because they're like 1/8 of an inch thick. You know, they're much easier to carry around. They were a lot cheaper, you know, and all that stuff. And then out of school, I was still painting on masonite board. And then when Arches came out with their oil paper, and I was working at the store, and they were just like, hey, you know, you paint in oils, have some of these to test out. And that's when I first started doing those, like, you know, really quick portraits that, you know, I sell on my Etsy shop. So I started doing that, and I was like, this is actually some pretty good ass shit. So I bought a pad, started doing other paintings. You know, my comic is all done on the Arches paper. I really like it. Like I said, you don't need to prime it, but I do anyway just because I like to I like to start on like a color surface rather than just pure white. Like I said, even with the portraits, you see there's always a color behind it. My comic, I started on like a neutral gray, and then my other illustrations I do on just straight black. I have these, they're Pigment Sticks, so it's the oil paint and kind of like a big old like crayon if you want to be simple about it. But it's a stick and it's pretty good for like if you're traveling and you want to just do like a quick sketch. These do dry pretty quickly, pretty quick as in like a day, since they do have like a drying medium in them. But yeah, if you like to do sketches like on the go, and I'm kind of person where like I suck at drawing and I'm more of like a renderer, painter. So this would be cool if, you know, you want to go out to like the park or something, sketch with this, you know, especially if you are predominantly an oil painter, you know, because it wouldn't work out for me if I were to like break out like a watercolor kit, because watercolors are like my enemy. So this would be cool. I have not yet like brought these to like a museum to do some sketches, but most of the time museums are not okay with you breaking out things that aren't just like a pen and pencil. You know, like if you're gonna break out something like this, they're most likely gonna either tell you to leave, put it away, or I think you could probably like request or like, you know, contact them ahead of time and be like, hey, I'm gonna use these sticks, you know, because there are people at times like at the Met who are there just like repainting, like I guess recreating, not repainting, that sounds horrible, recreating like old masters, you know, while they're there, and you know, that's always fun. Next thing is, the more important thing is the thing that helps you get all the fucking paint out the tube, because paints and oil paints are not cheap, so you want to get everything out of the fucking tube. I have a couple of jars, somehow I have a weird accent, jars of paint, and these are coming from like really big tubes that I've had for like way too damn long. They're still good. Watch me open it, it's like, oh my god, it's all dried up. Well, it's hard for me to fucking open it. God damn it, Cal, you piece of shit. Anyway, so yeah, I usually need like a thing to help me open the jar. Plus, I don't paint as often, fucking cuck, as I used to, so I'm not able to open that. God damn. Plus, I kind of just woke up. Anyway, promise the paints are good. So, I usually, where's that piece of glass? Oh my god, where did that piece of glass go? That's worrying me. Yeah, so usually, a piece of glass over there, that I just kind of scrape all the paint out in there with my palette knife that's all fucked up looking like this. You scrape it up, you know, you kind of mix it all back up, because sometimes, like, the oil settles and all that stuff. You want to make sure everything is nice and, but yeah, you do that, and then, like, I grab whatever I need, plop it on my palette, and the rest, scrape it all the way back into the frickin', you know, jar, and you're good to go. Oh god, I dropped that. Ugh. I have, over here's a baked chicken. I have the set of Holbein. Whoops, there that goes, right into the garbage can. Oh my god, right in the garbage can. I'm so professional. Oh, Jesus Christ, sorry. My garbage can still has a lot of the fucking hair from my Aries, like, wig I was working on, so it's like, ugh! Anyway, so this is a really cool pack I bought, probably, was it like 2011, 2012, whichever cosplay I went to New York Comic Con as M. Bison, and Holbein had a booth, and they're just like, yeah, they're like, you paint in oils? It's like, fuck yeah, and they were just like, hey, you want to see something cool? Yeah, so we could just like open the tube and like the oil. I can't even open this one. Oh my god, I'm a weak ass bitch today. Oh right, because I don't use that one, that's why. It's a color, like, it's vermilion hue, I don't really use that one. Anyway, oh look at it go, ultramarine deep. Anyway, so they were like, oh look at that, look, it's full color, look, their oil hasn't pulled up to the top, and I was like, you got a set? I want to buy a set. And who the fuck is calling? So, those are fucking awesome. I have more Holbein, that I've used for, like, my comic and shit. This I used on my Cthulhu one, this turquoise blue. Yeah, so I got a bunch of those. So these are pretty pricey. They're Japanese, even though it has, like, a German name. But yeah, they're pretty pricey, but they're really good. And also, again, just like any type of paints, it depends on the series. I really like these shits though, because it's like the pigments are good, the fucking, you know, the quality's great, you know, you don't get something like, and I'm just gonna kind of slightly talk shit for a second about like oil paints, like, you know, Gamblin's like a really good brand, but like, you know, once you discover something fucking awesome, you know, like Holbein or Old Holland and shit, like, I don't know if you could tell there, but like the oil is like pooling at the top. You can see that. The oil kind of pools at the top, and like that kind of separation is really annoying, because especially when you're trying to like get your paint out of your tube, like with the Holbein ones, you just have your palette and you're like bloop bloop bloop, you know, whatever you need. This one you're like, hold on, let me drip that onto like a garbage can, or you know, your towel or whatever you're using to wipe off shit. Alright, cool. Okay, now, you know, it's just, part of it's like you feel it's a bit of a waste of time, since I'm always on like deadlines and shit. And also, you know, the product is separating, so it doesn't feel like it's well mixed, but like I said, Gamblin's still good, because it's still a good brand, especially, you know, for the price and yada yada. But I like me my Holbein. I do like me my Holbein. And then, yeah, I got other Gamblin stuff. I have the Utrecht brand, which is made here in the USA in Brooklyn. This one's pricey because it's a Series 4 and it's a cobalt green. And I used a lot because that was that weird bluish green color I used in my comic. So I used that. You know, I think I also used this other weird name, fucking yellow, also in my comic. But Utrecht's really good, especially for a store brand. This is definitely one of those like bang for your buck kind of things. I've had people go like, oh, I don't use, you know, Utrecht. I would never use Utrecht. And it's like, that's nice, you elitist piece of shit, you know? But anyway, so the next thing is Williamsburg, and this thing is just, this one I got for free. So I didn't use all this. This is just someone just gave it away, and I was like, all right, I'll take this random color of paint that, you know, someone's giving away. Gross, congealed oil on my hand. Anyway, Williamsburg's really good. Again, it's another like, you know, handmade oil color. So that's kind of the reason why it's really really. It's like, that's kind of the reason why, you know, it is a bit on the pricey side, because you do have someone just like hand making the colors and shit. But my like small experience with the Williamsburg stuff, it is good shit, you know. So again, it's like you got some expensive stuff here, but you also got a good store brand, so it's always good. Williamsburg. Oh, and then of course, like the great thing of Old Holland. This shit is fucking expensive, but the colors are so fucking amazing. And it's like, I don't have a, like, it's funny, like, I bought these two in Old Holland, but then I got, like, this for free. Again, it's like, oh, that's another Williamsburg. I got a couple of these, like, you know, for free. Again, usually, like, some people, they're like, oh, I don't want this anymore. Like, I don't really paint. Do you want this? And I'm just like, yeah. You know? Anyway, so these tubes, I think I remember buying this one, and it cost me, like, before tax, about, like, 19 something, so almost 20 bucks. But it's also because I had, like, an employee discount, so that's why. But yeah, this shit is good. It's amazing. I don't want to say buttery, because I hate using food to describe a non-food item. But it is very, like, you know, it's very smooth. Like, application is very good. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, I don't want to, oh god, I don't want to use the word moist. That sounds really disgusting. But, sometimes, you know, when you're applying paint, it feels like it's coming out of the tube dry, even though it is, like cream kind of paint. It's really hard to describe unless, like, literally when people are like, oh, when I bought these, they're like, oh, how do you like the Old Holland? I was like, yo, really? When I'm painting, I'm like, yay! That's the best way to describe it. It's just me going, yay! Yeah, so I really like this shit. So I got a couple other, you know, paints. And then we have here my drying mediums that are, you know, very deadly. And also, if you're going to do oils, just, I don't want to say make sure you're of age. That sounds weird. But just make sure you're responsible, you know, when you're using this stuff, because, you know, this shit is toxic. You know, this ain't Crayola, it's not that stuff. It is toxic. You get it on your hands, you make sure you wash your hands fuck off thoroughly before you eat or do anything or rub your face or all that stuff, because you know, you could get sick, you can even die, poison, all that stuff. It's not funny. That shit just got real for a second there. Anyway, so, yeah, so I have this. I have the Windsor Newton Drying Linseed Oil. And I took off, this is the, I guess technically this is the safety cap. Well, this is a regular cap, and then there's like the black cap on there, but it's for safety. But again, working with oils and things like freaking dry, as you can see, like, I might have to like just kind of hunch over like this. Again, just like the paints, I'm going to need like a fucking can opener thing to help me with. But since I am not around children or anything, I don't have to worry about this. You know, I am, I guess you would say, the child that they're, you know, warning against. But yeah, so I take off the safety thing just so I don't have to like press down and then twist, and then, and again, because it's oil and you can see it's kind of dried, it makes it even harder to open these things, you know, so I usually do that. And this bottle was like fuck off full. You can actually, it's kind of like the rings on a goddamn like tree. You kind of see like how much I used while I was doing my comic. It's like boop, boop, boop. Be like, oh, I need more, boop, 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 boop. Like, you know, it's kind of cool actually. But yeah, so I usually, in this gross ass thing that I'm currently cleaning out, looks like a fucking like abyss. Yeah, there you go. Ugh. So it's like this weird brown poopy color because it's my drying linseed oil and then my Grumbacher cobalt dryer. Now this is the more dangerous stuff. And I've had a lot of like oil painters give me shit. They're like, oh, you're using a drying medium, you're not doing oils correctly, you're not doing it in its natural whatever fuck. You know, or people are like, I would never stick a brush into like a drying medium because I'll fuck up your brushes. And it's like, yeah, I know, but deadlines and shit, and I like painting in oils. But what I usually do is do like a 1-to-1 ratio. And this little gross ass thing, again, like I'm cleaning it. Oh wait, hold on, the light. Ugh. But yeah, like I said, just cleaning out for now. But I usually just go like bloop, 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 you know, like that until, and then I, you know, just make sure it's evenly mixed. And I dip the brush into the paint, and I'm good to go. You don't need to use both together, but I like using both because the drying linseed oil helps like keep the oil paint in a nice like, you know, oil like fluidity. Whereas the cobalt dryer kind of turns your oil paints a little bit too watery in like a watercolor way, and I don't like it like that. So it kind of helps. Plus, like, this shit in general dries shit in about 10-15 minutes, but then you also got this on top of it, and it's just like, two shows in one. There's a guitar pick in here. Sure, why not? Oh, hey, I haven't used one of these brushes in a while. That's why it still has the little brush condom on it. Yeah, so that's the paints. I have this little metal thingy. Oops, want to break it off. This is my little brush cleaner dealy majigger. I like having the metal one. I had the glass one for the longest time. It's the one where it's like, you know, clear glass jar, black cap, and there's like a weird little like, you know, spiral in it. And I used that for like the longest time when I was in school. But because it being glass, that shit broke so fucking easily. You know, I had that shit break in my bag one time, and so like I was like heading out into the city. And people were like, someone's like, yeah, your bag's dripping. And then, because it's clear, they thought it was water. And I'm just like, oh, I didn't want to be like, yeah, I got paint thinner in here. Like, weirdo looking like this. Me being clumsy. And, you know, when you're on deadlines, again, I drop it. It goes splash. It goes all over the place. I once, again, this is stupid, but I had it, like, I was going to go upstairs into the common room and go and, like, paint, I think, with Mo while she used to work on her comic while we were in school. So I plopped it into, like, just a regular, like, you know, fucking, you know, like grocery bag, put the thing in there, put in my drying medium, and threw my DS in there, because that's smart. And then for some reason, while, like, 2 steps to the door, like, just the 2 glass jars touching, just, you know. My DS is fine, like, the touchscreen part's a little bit on the foggy side, but everything's fine. But I also haven't turned on my DS in, like, 4 years. But anyway, so this one's good because it's got the rubber like washer on it. Well, this one's falling out, but it creates, you know, a nice seal. Obviously, you have stop it, you little pail handle thing. Anyway, you close it up, bam, you're good. I actually literally closed it up and I was like shaking it to make sure like it really did create a good seal. You also have this, which is, it's kind of gross and gunky, but that's how it is. So this part, usually, like, in here there's some terpenoid and all that stuff, but usually you kind of, don't want to pour it out. But yeah, usually kind of put the turpenoid just a wee bit higher than like, you know, your little grid thingy. So when you're, you know, just scraping over, you're able to clean your brushes and stuff. And I really like this because, again, I haven't had any issues. Unlike the other ones, I've had this for a couple of years, and I'm actually quite excited with this one. Like I said, I've actually traveled with this, and I've had an issue at all. Just gonna close one side. But yeah, so there's that. Like I said, my painting surfaces are that. Like I said, I have transfer paper and my palette. I was like, am I missing talking about something? So, I can't get to it, but I used to use one of those glass palettes, you know, not as big as like the Bob Ross shit, but I used to use like a glass palette when I was in school. It was really easy. It's glass, so when your paint was dried, you scrape, you know, just take like a fucking like blade, you scrape off the excess, you clean it off, everything's fine. Well, after a while, I wasn't painting so big, you know, and so most of my paintings now are really, you know, like this, which is 12 by 16. I like that size. It works proportionally with what I like. Usually work at 12 by 16. At largest now, I would do 16 by 20. I really don't do anything larger than that. Yeah, so once I started doing things smaller, especially out of school, because really it's my go, I kind of moved on to like a smaller palette, since most of the time with most of my paintings, I end up, you know, doing limited palettes rather than before where it was just like every color under the fucking sun. So now, and this is kind of funny, I go from like a $20 some odd glass fuck off palette to an IKEA Tupperware lid. Yeah, totally. I've had like people who are just general painters, they're not illustrators, which are two different things, just be like, how do you fucking paint like that? And I was like, have you seen my paintings? They're fucking small and detailed as fuck. But yeah, what I do is take this, and I take the lovely wax paper, and I just cover it, you know, pop some tape on it, and then I do my colors, what I need, and then I get a mosey on. Yeah, some people might think like the green, like you would think like, oh, the green might fuck with me mixing the colors, but I haven't had an issue. Then again, wax paper is also a bit foggy, so I haven't had an issue with mixing color. Be like, oh yeah, that's that color, and I'm like, oh fuck, that's not what I needed. But again, that's not saying that for everyone. Some people, that green could be throwing them off really badly. There's also like paper palettes that come in like just regular white and gray and all that stuff. They're easy cleanup as well, if you don't want like, you know, like a glass one. And if you are doing oils, I would suggest a glass one. Wood ones would soak it up really well. Plastic ones, you know, it's a little bit harder to clean up. I saw online there was a thing called like, you know, like a vertical palette where like you can put your palette like this, and for some magical reason your oil paints don't slip. You know, I kind of want to get one, but it's also like $100 fucking for that thing. So I'm like, because I think it had like a Kickstarter or something, so that's why it cost so much. And I was like, I kind of want it, but it's like, oh my god, I can't. And like, oh, like that costs more. And then like, oh, yeah, it's like, god, if that costs more than like a lot of my shit, I'm like, I don't know, but we'll see. So yeah, these are the paints that I use. I don't know if any of that helped. Yeah, I love oil painting, and I love painting weird stuff. So yeah. I think I'm gonna do like a video on my like special effects stuff. I'm pointing that way because my kit's right there. And then probably like my cosplay closet. But you can always just like look through like my website and all that stuff to see what I've cosplayed. But anywho, I think that's it for now. I should really start painting, or at least eat for the day. But awkward, still don't know how to end videos. Alright, bye.